Today I'm going to take you into the fascinating world of the mysterious and powerful cherubs. Have you ever heard of these angelic beings mentioned in the Bible and in various religious traditions? Perhaps you've seen representations of them in works of art, but I assure you that what we're going to reveal here today goes far beyond what you might imagine. Cherubim are a special class of angels who play key roles in God's heavenly court. They are often described as guardians of the divine presence, majestic and powerful beings who surround God's throne. But what makes these angels so special and different from the rest? Get ready to discover surprising details that will ignite your curiosity and move your heart. Let's explore the origin and meaning of the cherubim, a subject rich in mystery and symbolism. The word a cherub comes from the Hebrew cherub, and is generally interpreted as a blessed being. This definition already gives us a clue as to the importance and sacredness of these celestial beings. In ancient times, when the sacred scriptures were being written, the cherubim emerged as central and extremely respected figures. Every mention of cherubs in the Bible carries a charge of reverence and heavenly power. The cherubim are described as guardians of God's holiness. Think of a guardian charged with protecting something of extreme value. On a heavenly level, the cherubim do not protect a simple jewel, but the very holiness of God. This places them in a position of immense responsibility and importance. But why would God need guardians? This question leads us to reflect on the divine nature and the relationship between the heavenly and the earthly. The cherubim represent the dividing line between the divine and the human, the holy and the profane, ensuring that nothing impure approaches God's presence. They are the protectors of divine purity, underlining its importance and the inaccessibility of divine holiness to ordinary humanity. When the Bible mentions cherubim, as in the books of Ezekiel and Genesis, we are invited to glimpse a realm where holiness is protected by beings of immense power and glory. They are also messengers of a higher reality, bringing humanity a glimpse of what it means to be close to the divine. Cherubim are portrayed in various ways in the scriptures, but always with a sense of mystery and power. In the book of Ezekiel, for example, they are described with 4 faces, of man, lion, ox and eagle, and with bodies covered in eyes. The face of a man represents wisdom, that of a lion symbolizes courage, that of an ox strength and that of an eagle agility. The eyes scattered all over the body indicate the ability to see everything, to always be vigilant, essential for those who guard God's holiness. This description gives us a sense of wonder and awe, a mixture of curiosity and reverence. What do the cherubim see with their countless eyes? What do they know that we don't? These questions leave us yearning for more knowledge and understanding. In addition, the cherubs' role as guardians makes us reflect on the very nature of holiness and purity. What does it mean to be so pure that you need to be protected by beings of such power? This leads us to question our own nature and our relationship with the divine. Can we achieve this holiness? Can we get closer to the purity that the cherubs protect? These are questions that touch the very heart of spirituality and the human search for the divine. Let's deepen our understanding of the biblical description of the cherubim as presented in the book of Ezekiel. This description is not just a visual representation, but a key to understanding the complexity and grandeur of these angelic beings. The cherubs are depicted with 4 faces, one of a man, one of a lion, one of an ox and one of an eagle. Each face has an important symbolic meaning. The face of a man represents intelligence and wisdom. The lion face symbolizes courage and royalty. The ox face represents strength and service, while the eagle face symbolizes agility and vision. These attributes combine to show that cherubs are endowed with profound wisdom, indomitable courage, incredible strength and keen sight. In addition to the 4 faces, the cherubs have 4 wings, 2 covering their bodies and 2 extending for flight. The wings symbolize mobility and readiness, indicating that the cherubs are always ready to act in response to divine commands, as well as protection, with 2 wings covering their bodies. The cherubs are covered with eyes, spread all over their bodies and wings, representing total perception and tireless vigilance. They are always watching and attentive, never missing anything that is happening around them. This total vision is essential for those who guard God's holiness, allowing them to perceive any threat or impurity that may approach. The imposing presence of the cherubim, with their 4 faces, long wings and countless eyes, is not only impressive, but also the embodiment of divine power, wisdom and vigilance. Every detail of their description invites us to reflect on the grandeur and complexity of the heavenly realm. The description of the cherubim in the book of Ezekiel shows us how God's holiness and presence are guarded and protected. The cherubim symbolize the wisdom, courage, strength and vigilance needed to maintain divine purity. They are a reminder that the divine is multifaceted and complex, and that the guardians of this holiness must be equally extraordinary. This vision leads us to feel a mixture of awe and fear. What would these beings be like in action? What do they see with their countless eyes? How do they use their different faces and wings in their service to God? These questions leave us yearning for more knowledge and understanding, and it is this curiosity that motivates us to continue exploring the rich tapestry of angelology. As we continue our journey, let's remember that every detail and symbol in the description of the cherubim offers us a deeper insight into the divine. Keep your heart and mind open to the revelations that these heavenly guardians bring us, for they show us the beauty and complexity of God's kingdom, always vigilant, always present, always protecting the holiness that inspires and guides us. Now you're going to get into the fascinating story of the cherubs as guardians of the Garden of Eden. After Adam and Eve were expelled from the Garden of Eden, God placed cherubs to the east of the garden to guard the way to the tree of life. This act is full of symbolism and importance, helping us to understand the role of the cherubim in the divine plan. The Garden of Eden was a perfect paradise, where Adam and Eve lived in harmony with God. After disobedience, the harmony was broken and they were expelled from Eden. To prevent man from returning to the garden and gaining access to the tree of life, God placed cherubim as guardians. The tree of life symbolizes eternal life, and access to it after the fall of man would mean the perpetuation of sin. The cherubim, with their imposing presence and watchful attributes, were chosen by God for this critical task. Their presence to the east of the Garden of Eden serves as a constant reminder of God's holiness and the gravity of human disobedience. They represent an insurmountable barrier between fallen man and divine purity. As well as being protectors of holiness, the cherubs symbolize hope and the promise of redemption. Although the way back to Eden is blocked, the presence of the cherubs reminds us that God is still present and vigilant. He has not abandoned humanity, but is preparing a path of redemption and restoration. The choice of the cherubim to guard the Garden of Eden is a testimony to the seriousness with which God treats holiness and purity. It is also a reminder that, even in the midst of disobedience, God is present and vigilant, protecting His creation and preparing a way for redemption. This story makes us reflect on the nature of holiness and the need to protect what is sacred. The cherubim are not just passive guardians, they actively protect the path to the tree of life, ensuring that the sanctity of paradise is not violated. This leads us to think about how we can protect and value holiness in our own lives. The cherubs as guardians of the Garden of Eden offer us a powerful vision of divine holiness, justice, and mercy. They are a testimony to the seriousness with which God treats purity and holiness and remind us of the complexity and depth of the divine plan. Let's continue exploring the fascinating world of the cherubs, always with curiosity, attention, and reverence, seeking to understand more about these heavenly guardians and what they reveal to us about God and His plan for humanity. The cherubim play a crucial role in both the Tabernacle and Solomon's Temple, reflecting the importance of the divine presence in the lives of the people of Israel. In the Tabernacle, the Ark of the Covenant was the most sacred object, containing the tablets of the Ten Commandments, Aaron's rod, and a jar of manna. On top of this ark were sculpted cherubs with their wings outstretched, symbolizing God's presence and protection. The presence of the cherubim in the Holy of Holies, the most sacred space in the tabernacle, was a constant reminder of God's holiness and closeness. Only the high priest could enter this space once a year, on the Day of Atonement, to offer sacrifices for the sins of the people. At this solemn moment, he stood before the cherubim, in a direct encounter with the divine presence. In Solomon's temple, this image was greatly enlarged. Solomon had gigantic cherubs carved, 10 cubits high, whose wings stretched from one wall to the other, covering the Ark of the Covenant in the center. The grandeur of these cherubim reflected the glory and majesty of God, emphasizing that the temple was the earthly dwelling place of the Most High. The cherubs in Solomon's temple were not just decorative symbols, they represented God's continuous and protective presence. Their outstretched wings over the Ark of the Covenant symbolized God's guardianship over the law and the covenant between God and Israel. It was a visible reminder of God's constant presence, guiding and protecting His people. The design of the cherubim, with their 4 faces and watchful eyes, symbolizes wisdom, courage, strength, and divine vision. The man's face represents wisdom, the lion's face courage, the ox's face strength, and the eagle's face keen vision. The wings represent divine readiness and mobility, while the eyes symbolize total vigilance. The choice of the cherubim to guard the Holy of Holies is a testimony to the seriousness with which God treats holiness and purity. Even in the midst of disobedience, God is present and vigilant, protecting His creation and preparing a way for redemption. The story of the cherubim in the Tabernacle and Solomon's Temple makes us reflect on the nature of holiness and the need to protect what is sacred. They are not just passive guardians, they actively protect the path to the tree of life, ensuring that the sanctity of paradise is not violated. This leads us to think about how we can protect and value holiness in our own lives. The cherubs offer us a powerful vision of divine holiness, justice, and mercy. They are a testimony to the seriousness with which God treats purity and remind us of the complexity and depth of the divine plan. Let's continue exploring the fascinating world of the cherubs, always with curiosity, attention, and reverence, seeking to understand more about these heavenly guardians and what they reveal to us about God and His plan for humanity. In Renaissance and Baroque art, cherubs are often represented as small child angels, known as a putti. This affectionate and angelic image, commonly found in paintings and sculptures from this period, contrasts greatly with the more impressive and powerful biblical descriptions of these heavenly beings. The putti, with their round, adorable faces and small bodies, are often portrayed in graceful poses, floating among clouds and accompanying scenes of beauty and serenity. This representation seeks to convey a sense of innocence and purity, reflecting the aesthetic and spiritual ideal of the period, where the image of the cherubs was softened and humanized to align with the artistic and cultural visions of the time. However, these representations contrast sharply with the biblical descriptions of the cherubs, which are much grander and more impressive. In the Bible, particularly in the books of Ezekiel and Revelation, cherubs are described as powerful and complex beings with multiple faces and wings. They are symbols of divine protection and have an appearance that commands respect and reverence. In Ezekiel, for example, the cherubim are described as having 4 faces: man, lion, ox, and eagle, and 4 wings, with their bodies covered in eyes, representing their vigilance and power. This biblical description evokes a sense of majesty and mystery, far removed from the more playful and accessible representation of the putti. The contrast between these artistic representations and the biblical descriptions shows us how the perception of cherubs has evolved over time. While Renaissance and Baroque art presented them in a way that highlighted their innocence and charm, the biblical descriptions reveal a deeper and more reverent aspect of these beings, emphasizing their importance as guardians and servants of God. These differences help us to reflect on how spiritual figures and religious concepts are interpreted and represented differently in different cultural and historical contexts. The transformation of the image of the cherubim from impressive and protective beings to childlike and decorative figures is an example of how art and religion can evolve and adapt to the needs and sensibilities of the times. In the book of Revelation, also known as Revelation, the cherubim are described in a way that further emphasizes their importance and role in John's apocalyptic visions. In this context, they are often referred to as a living creatures, and their presence around God's throne is one of the most powerful and symbolic aspects of John's visions. These living creatures are depicted with impressive features. Each one has 6 wings and is covered with eyes, an image that conveys watchfulness and omnipresence. The description is so vivid that the cherubim stand out not only because of their appearance, but also because of the role they play in the heavenly scene. They are positioned around God's throne, a symbol of divine majesty and sovereignty, and they continually praise and worship the Lord. The incessant praises of the cherubim are a crucial part of the apocalyptic visions. Not only do they glorify God, but they are also instruments that announce and affirm the eternal and immutable nature of His authority. Their continuous worship underlines the idea that, even in the face of revelations about the end times, praise and reverence for God remain constant and unwavering. The presence of the cherubim around God's throne symbolizes the divinity's continued closeness and proximity to creation. They are the link between heaven and earth, between the human and the divine, representing an eternal and sacred connection that transcends time and earthly reality. Their ceaseless worship and praise reflect the perfection and fullness of God's presence, offering a powerful vision of the relationship between the Creator and His creation. The vision of the cherubim in Revelation also illustrates the deep reverence and respect that is due to God. By constantly being in the presence of the heavenly throne, they emphasize that worship is not just an occasional practice, but a constant and essential condition of being. This representation reinforces the idea that worshiping God is a central and eternal aspect of spiritual experience, which transcends any temporal situation or event. In addition, the cherubim in Revelation help set the scene for the great revelations and events that unfold in the book. Their presence around the throne and their role in unceasing worship define a heavenly atmosphere of pure devotion and reverence, which serves as the backdrop for John's visions of the end times and the establishment of God's kingdom. These apocalyptic visions not only offer a glimpse of God's power and glory, but also highlight the importance of the cherubim as active participants in the cosmic drama of divine worship and revelation. Through their vibrant and symbolic descriptions, we are reminded of the magnificence of God's throne and the deep spiritual connection that unites heaven and earth, reflected in the ceaseless worship of the cherubim. To conclude our journey through the fascinating figure of the cherubim, it is impossible not to feel amazed at the complex and symbolic role these celestial beings play in our traditions and scriptures. From their grandiose description in the book of Ezekiel, with their multiple faces and wings covered with eyes, to their majestic presence and ceaseless worship in the book of Revelation, cherubs are not only symbols of protection and reverence, but also witnesses to the eternal relationship between the divine and the human. In the Garden of Eden, they guarded the path to the tree of life, demonstrating the seriousness of holiness and divine protection. In the Tabernacle and Solomon's temple, their carved figures not only adorned the sacred space, but also represented God's constant presence and guardianship over his people. And in Revelation, their ceaseless worship around God's throne reminds us of the eternal importance of reverence and praise. But what does all this mean for us today? The cherubim, with their powerful images and multifaceted roles, invite us to reflect on the magnitude of the divine plan and the depth of our own spiritual connection. They challenge us to look beyond the visible, to perceive God's presence in our daily lives and to recognize the value of holiness and worship. Each description and role of the cherubim offers us a glimpse of God's greatness and the complexity of his creation. They remind us that, even in the midst of our struggles and challenges, there is a greater strength, protection, and purpose that transcends our immediate understanding. And as we reflect on the beauty and depth of these representations, we are called to seek a deeper connection with the divine, to find meaning and reverence in our own spiritual journey. So, as we close our exploration of the cherubs, I invite you to ask yourself, how do these heavenly figures inspire your view of God and your own spiritual life? What can you learn from their ceaseless worship and their role as guardians of holiness? By delving into these questions, we can discover new ways of experiencing the divine presence and find deeper meaning in our own spiritual journey. Thank you for accompanying us on this heavenly journey. May the vision of the cherubim continue to enlighten and inspire your life, bringing a new dimension of understanding and worship to your spiritual experience. Until next time, may you always find peace and inspiration in the presence of the divine. And so we conclude our fascinating journey through the universe of the cherubs. As we explore the grandeur of these celestial beings, we discover how they are much more than mere symbols. They are representatives of divine majesty and guardians of eternal holiness. Every aspect of their appearance, every role they play, offers us a new perspective on the depth and complexity of the divine plan. If this video has aroused your curiosity and inspired you to reflect on God's presence and worship in your life, be sure to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell. That way, you'll be the first to know about new content that explores the mysteries and wonders of the scriptures and the spiritual world. Did you like the video? Then leave a like to show your support and help bring this message to more people. And don't forget to leave a comment below about what impressed you most about the cherubs or other topics you'd like to see here. Your opinion is crucial to us. Keep exploring the fascinating universe of our channel by watching the videos that appear on your screen now. We have many more incredible topics and spiritual revelations waiting for you. Thank you very much for watching to the end. Your presence is invaluable, and together we will continue to discover the secrets and wonders that the spiritual world has to offer. Until next time, and may the divine presence continue to enlighten your journey.